All right, folks, welcome to GAMcast Live, the biggest story of the day, October 27th, 2022. The biggest story of the day today is the early voting is favoring the GOP. This is not what you're going to hear elsewhere. The Great American Male, the Florida and Georgia lawyer that breaks down the news and events of the day through the lens of the Constitution, the law, and history. Folks, you're not hearing it out there from a lot of people. What you're hearing from a lot of people is a typical thing. Here's Kyle Griffin, who has 1.4 million followers on Twitter. He works for MSNBC. He's an executive producer. According to Georgia Secretary of State's office, turnouts through day 9 of early voting, essentially 50,000 behind the 2020 all-time record and almost double 2018, which is also a record. Now, he thinks that's good for Democrats. That's why he's tweeting it, okay? It's not good for Democrats, and let me explain why it's not good for Democrats, okay? Let me back out of this. All right, it's not good for Democrats because even though it's breaking records, the reason it's breaking records is because the GOP is now coming out, is now voting early. The old notion that the GOP is in-person only is a myth and is probably never ever going to be the same again. So let's take a look at Georgia. This is from our friends at RBubs. That gives you the data from all the states that have early votes, okay? Through yesterday, Georgia does not break it down by party affiliation. Now, if you went and we were to go break it down by county, we would determine that what I'm about to tell you is true in Georgia. But we got to keep these biggest stories today. We try to keep them under 4 minutes, okay? So I've only got 4 minutes to get to you. So we're just going to back out of Georgia, right? And let's go take a look at some other states that are similar to Georgia. Probably the closest one would be Florida. Very similar in terms. Florida's a little redder, but similar demographics, okay? Here you go, the early vote totals, okay? Let's go back and take a look at where they were in 2020. At this time in 2020, Democrats had a 13% edge. Let's take a look at where they are today. Today, 41.5, Republican 39.4, right? You hear that? Less than 2 points, okay? Think about that. And it's right there, okay? Unaffiliated, 19.1. You think, well, Florida's an outlier. Okay, the Republicans are keeping pace there and well ahead of where they were 2 years ago. That doesn't necessarily mean that the records are being broken because Republicans are showing up. Let's look at North Carolina. 39.9, 31.1 Republican, 29.4 unaffiliated. Folks, if you're a Democrat, your heart is sinking. The early vote is not overwhelmingly favoring you. Let's go take a look at Arizona, see what's going on out there. Democrats 40.3, Republicans 36.6. Okay, a little less than 4%. Unaffiliated 23.1. All right, so I can tell you these records, and anybody who follows polling and knows this kind of stuff as we do can tell you the reason the records are being broken is because the GOP is now turning out to vote early. And they'll also turn out on Election Day. We all know that, okay? So don't let people fool you into thinking all this early voting means there's no red wave or letting the early voting tell you that Democrats aren't likely to lose big in November. Okay, now again, I'm not saying that it guarantees it. All I'm saying is the fact that the early voting is setting records is because the GOP is coming out. And the numbers show it. They do. Now, whether they'll continue to show up on Election Day or what's going to happen, no, only God knows that. Anyway, like I said, we try to keep these under 4 minutes. If you enjoyed this, please like this video, share it. Sharing is caring will help content creators a lot. And please subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this live stream, I hope to see you on the next one.